Approaching the tomb, I was met by the specter of the Guardian himself.
Eternity weighs heavily.
I have a solution.
I bear it in atonement. But your moment of existence has passed. Come and be released.
As the Reaver absorbed the souls of the Nature and Conflict Guardians, it was imbued with the elemental power of fire with which their principles were aligned. I was now equipped to reach the pillars. Once again, I beheld the pillars of Nosgoth, crumbling in decay now, following the corruption of the Circle. Here I would find Ariel, the specter of the murdered Balance Guardian, and the last pure, undefiled member of the Guardian Circle. Bound here upon her death, she was doomed to haunt these pillars until her successor fulfilled his terrible duty, and balance was restored.
What manner of creature approaches?
I know you well, Ariel, though you do not yet know me.
I have no time for riddles, strange one.
All you have is time. I have come to seek your guidance.
I counsel only one man, and you are not he. But you will know him soon. The contagion of your kind is coming to an end.
My kind? What exactly do you think I am?
Your name shall remain unspoken, as decreed by our ancestors. You serve the one who so brutally took my life and set this tragedy in motion. But even now, hope is at work. Balance will be restored, and your kind will be expelled forever.
You have pinned your hopes on Kain. He will disappoint you.
What can you know of Kain?
More than you could ever fathom.
He will do what he must when the time comes.
By choosing his own death. A sacrifice for the world. You don't know Kain very well.
I know what he is called to do. My faith sustains me.
Is it faith or fear? You know that if Kain refuses the sacrifice, you will never leave here. And you begin to suspect.
I will not hear your poison, fiend.
Grant me the answers I require, and I will leave you to your pathetic delusions.
Ask, then.
I seek the vampire Vorador.
To kill him, perhaps, or to join him in death. But for Kain, he is the last of his kind. Mobius's mob has done its work.
My reasons are my own.
His refuge lies in the heart of the Black Forest. And may you molder there together until the end comes.
This seemed to be attuned to the elemental principle of air. I was transported to yet another ancient vampire chamber, this one apparently aligned with the elemental power of air. These murals had suffered some damage. Once again I recognized the vampire's hero, but this scene revealed something new. For here they had also depicted his destined adversary, now partially obscured, who seemed to bear a flaming sword.
In winning all, we lost all. In winning what we thought mattered, we lost what truly mattered. But for you, there is a chance.
What chance is that?
The bliss of death. I offer it.
But I do not accept. Never. As the Reaver absorbed the souls of the Mind and Dimension Guardians, it was imbued with the elemental power of air with which their principles were aligned. With the Reaver endowed with the elemental power of air, the way to Vorador's refuge lay open at last. If the old vampire still lived, he alone could tell me how to escape the terrible destiny charted for me when the Reaver was forged. Vorador's refuge was hidden deep within the Black Forest. I hoped to find him before Mobius's cutthroats did.
And so I arrived at the citadel of my vampire ancestors, long abandoned since their extinction eons ago. Perhaps it still held the wisdom of its creators. Here, Mobius said I would find proof that Raziel was not what I thought he was, or hoped he would be. But in sending me here, Mobius had done me an unexpected, or perhaps an unwitting service. For it was my destiny, not Raziel's, my role as Scion of Balance, whose secrets I was here to discover. Here, no doubt, was the evidence Mobius wished me to have. For the vampires had prophesied not one, but two champions. One destined to be Nosgoth's redeemer, the other its destroyer. The vampire's hero wielded the Reaver, forged for this very purpose. His opponent was clearly the champion of their adversaries, the Hilden, and brandished a flaming sword. The foretold outcome was unambiguous. The vampire hero would fall. This door was clearly significant. The answers I sought surely lay within. But to unlock the chamber, the balance emblem had to be fully restored. The Reaver required some additional enhancement before this door could be opened. These statues were singularly inanimate. I knew better than to assume they would always remain so. The third fragment of the balance emblem endowed the Reaver with the elemental power of lightning. A new area of the vampire citadel lay open. I still had much to discover.
Nestled deep in the Black Forest, Vorodor had once held court over a private kingdom, as decadent as it was depraved. Now all was still. I hoped I had not arrived too late. This pool seemed related to the portals which had transported me into the vampire ruins, but its surface was disturbed by the spouting of these gargoyles. These gargoyles were effigies of the vampire's enemies. In the corresponding murals, they were impaled by heroic vampire warriors. Perhaps this was a clue. This mysterious chamber was clearly significant. Perhaps I would finally find the elusive Vorador within. Braziers were all lit, but still the door remained sealed. Perhaps I had ignited too many. This statue appeared to be the same hero I had seen depicted in the fountain room. This had to be significant. This was indeed the vampire warrior depicted in the fountain room, for here was the hero's weapon. This could be the key to solving the riddle of the fountain. Here the images were unadulterated, and their meaning ominously clear. The vampire hero, the bearer of the Reaver Blade, was confronted by an adversary worthy of his powers. The enemy race, long banished, had a champion of their own, with flaming eyes and a fiery sword. The resemblance I bore to the adversary mocked all my hopes. Had Kain been the vampire hero of prophecy all along? Did he suspect what I was? For if I was this foretold adversary, then Mobius was right, and had always been right. I was destined to fight Kain and destroy him, or be destroyed. What part did free will play in any of this?
Your deliverance is at hand. In death is your release. This state is merely atonement.
Once more the Reaver absorbed the spirits of the former vampire guardians, and thus was imbued with the elemental power of water. Perhaps now I could enter that mysterious crypt at the end of the garden.
So, our wretched little savior returns. Come to join the last pathetic battle of the vampire race? But on which side, I wonder?
I've not come to fight you, Vorador.
You don't know why you're here.
I know this much, that you are the author of my fate, and as such, only you can rewrite it.
You give me too much credit.
You forged the Reaver. I have seen the evidence.
I was its maker, yes?
Then you know its purpose.
No. Only the scraps of prophecy my master shared with me.
And do these scraps explain why you would forge a weapon to imprison your savior?
Ah, well then. It seems we have our answer. You've chosen your path.
I have chosen nothing. I've been deceived at every turn. You seem to know what I am. Tell me.
I thought I did once. But now all the prophecies have failed. The pillars are corrupted. I am the last of my kind. And when Mobius's hunters find me, it will have all been for nothing.
You've forgotten about Kain.
Ah, yes, Kain. I fear he shoulders a greater burden than he realizes. I cannot help you, even if I was inclined to. I crafted the Reaver blade, but only at the behest of my sire, Janos Audron. What sorcery he and the others laid upon the sword afterward, I cannot say.
Janos tried to give me the Reaver before he died. He said that it was forged for me. But what did he mean? As my weapon? Or my prison?
Perhaps you should ask him yourself.
Janos is here.
In a manner of speaking. The greatest of us all, the father of our race. The Seraphim tore the heart from his living body 5 centuries ago.
But there's no sign of decay. How is this possible after all these years?
Somewhere, the heart still beats, and while it does, the body will remain preserved. If his heart could be restored, Janos might yet be raised.
And you haven't tried to recover it in all these years?
Many times, but our enemies hid the heart too well. It was taken as a trophy to Avernus Cathedral centuries ago, where they christened it the Heart of Darkness. Believing that it embodies the essence of our dark gift, they hid the heart away lest it fall into the wrong hands. Our hands. Redeem yourself. You may be our last hope. Perhaps you alone can find the heart if it is meant to be found. If Janos can be resurrected, he will have all the answers you require. This key will open your way to Avernus. But be advised, there are dark sorceries at work in the cathedral. You must be on your guard. Avernus is in flames, and with it, our hopes may evaporate.
How can I find the heart in the midst of such chaos?
You must act quickly, but beware an ancient evil dwells within, long unspoken among our kind. Undoubtedly, this is the source of the corruption that infects the Circle. If you are to succeed, you must resist its influence.
This history, in part, I knew already. How, as the vampires began to die out, the Pillars summoned human guardians to fulfill their roles. It seemed the ancient vampires had adopted, and when necessary, abducted the human guardians and made vampires of them when they came of age, until the humans rebelled against their masters. And here, I made a surprising discovery. It was Mobius, the Time Streamer, and Mortanius, Guardian of Death, who led the bloody revolt. Now, I understood why Mobius hated me so intensely. I was the first vampire guardian in all these centuries, and he knew what my coming signified. Or perhaps I reminded him of all he had forsaken. was confronted again with depictions of the vampire's champion, the bearer of the Reaver Blade. And here too was his Hilden adversary, with blazing eyes brandishing a flaming sword. Two heroes, locked in combat which only one would survive. But which one? These murals prophesied two possible outcomes. I didn't know what Mobius was trying to concoct, but this all seemed too convenient. With this fourth and final fragment, the balance emblem was complete. I now had the means to unseal the mysterious chamber at the heart of the Citadel. For my ancient ancestors, the Dark Gift was clearly a curse, damning them to a kind of spiritual purgatory. But why were they compelled to seal this chamber so securely? Perhaps the lock was not meant to keep intruders out, but to imprison something within.
Kain, scion of balance, savior of Nosgoth.
What is this?
Your arrival is foretold. The fates have willed it.
Is that so?
I am the oracle of your ancestors. I can provide the answers you require. You needn't speak. I know your mind. You seek knowledge of your creature Raziel. This I can offer, if you will look. He has found the body of Janus Ordrum. He journeys now to Avernus Cathedral to seek the heart of darkness. You know what this means.
And why would I trust your prophecies?
These events are already written just as you feared. But there is still time. He can be stopped.
If Avernus is in flames, Raziel is 5 centuries beyond my reach.
I may aid you in this regard as well. This portal will transport you in time to the very hour that Raziel arrives in Avernus. This task is yours to carry out, since it was you who made him what he is. When you are ready, you may pass through.
I knew, of course, that this oracle was not to be trusted. But in the end, what choice did I have? This peculiar sensation was familiar to me, and the chamber did indeed appear altered by time. In this regard, at least, the Oracle seemed to have been truthful.
I have delivered you faithfully to the very hour you desire. You know what must be done, Kain. There is only one way to prevent Raziel from doing great harm.
He is not my enemy.
But you are his.
From this vantage point, I could see the city of Avernus in flames. The Oracle had indeed brought me to the time it promised. It might also be true, then, that Raziel was already there, seeking the heart of darkness. If so, he had to be stopped. I could not allow Janus to be raised.
Somewhere in this great cathedral, the heart of darkness lay concealed. The city outside was in chaos, and the cathedral would not be immune for long. During such times, buried secrets were often suddenly revealed, or lost forever. I had seen this symbol throughout these ruins. I should have realized what it was they worshipped. Now there was no question, for this scene depicted the ancient vampires' torment and despair as their curse cast them from the wheel of fate. So this was the god whose abandonment had driven them to madness and suicide. Finally, I understood. It was not the bloodthirst, but their immortality that was the true nature of their enemy's curse. The wisest, strongest, most noble race, gulled by the voice of that old parasite. But I had seen him, and whatever he was no god.
Rejoice in the turning of the wheel.
It does turn, though we cannot see it.
Your wheel is a lie.
You will turn the wheel.
Come!
Die.
This spirit vessel was shielded by layers of occult energy. There had to be some means to dispel this barrier. As the Reaver absorbed the souls of the original Energy and Time Guardians, it was imbued with the elemental power of Earth with which their principles were aligned. As the handsome coffin hides the putrefying corpse within, the great cathedral of Avernus seemed to hold its own secrets, hidden in the catacombs beneath its vaulted chambers. Was this the source of the corruption that infected Nosgoth? Vorador had hinted at something more. History is written by the victors. Beneath the vaults of Avernus, I discovered scenes that told a familiar story, but from a very different point of view. This was the work of the enemy race, and revealed what the vampire histories had conveniently omitted. How the noble vampires, guard-ridden and righteous, had started the wars that would destroy both races, victor and vanquished alike. Their adversaries opposed the vampires' god and refused to submit to the wheel of fate. For this, they were banished. I now understood the poetic irony of their curse, and my resemblance to the vampire's enemy no longer seemed so accidental. The banished race foretold a hero who would deliver them from their oppressors and destroy the shackles of the vampire's tyrannous god, the same hero that bore the flaming sword. What game was this? where every player on the board claimed the same pawn.
So, Raziel, your true nature is finally revealed. You were never the vampire's savior. It is to the Hilden race you belong. And when Kain realizes this, what do you think he will do?
Great Hashagik, we hear you. We tremble and we obey. We offer this sacrifice upon the altar of the world. The blood of our firstborn to be sacrificed to you.
In the depths of Avernus Cathedral, I stumbled upon a bloody ritual. Was this the source of the corruption that had overtaken the city?
May this blood nourish you for all eternity. Purge your wrath from us, great God. The wrath of Hashagik has once more been averted. Depart now as ever in his service. We tremble and we obey. Praise to Hashagik and ever praise. Hashagik, Hashagik, Hashagik.
What was it that these deluded humans worshipped with such fervor? Was this the dreaded unspoken that Vorador had warned me about? Whatever so-called god inhabited this hideous pit, I was about to meet it.
I smell no blood. Throat cut first, blood gouting, then it falls into the pit. The sacrifice is rejected. You will know my wrath. Not possible. No, it could not be.
Stand away, monster!
No. That voice. Not possible. I know that voice. But he fell. The abyss. He ended there.
I did not fall into the abyss.
Oh, it remembers that, does it?
I was thrown in by my own brethren.
I heard what you did to them. And now, you have found me at last.
Torel!
Terrell! Yes, that was my name then.
The others were grotesque, but...
Yes, I am changed. I have become a god. Greater than you ever were, Raziel. You were never a god. Greater even than Kain!
It is to you that these humans offer their blood sacrifices?
Hashagik! Hashagik! Yes.
But how did this happen?
I was summoned. There was darkness and great hunger. And then I was found.
Why do you stay in this terrible place?
Why stay? Would I remain if I could get out? While they hound me and tear at me and... The hour is at hand, as it was foretold.
Torel?
We use his voice to command the disciples above. We demand offerings to keep the host alive. He has been a durable vessel, but he can take us no further. You must prevail. The champion of our enemy draws near. No! I must have blood! Bring me blood! Or feel the wrath of your god. Yours. Yes, it will strengthen me against them.
What are you doing?
No more questions. No more worship. Time to run. Time to scream. Time to die.